Hello and welcome. I hope the audio levels are acceptable. Please give me some feedback. I'm looking at Module 2 and I want to walk you through the first few weeks of how to do the Module 2 assignments. So we're going to be focusing on the first quadrant, content, administrative social tasks for these sections. You should have been okay to do the summarize, explain, rephrase. I'm going to do this assignment really quickly so we have some content to work with in the next pages. So in fact, what I think I'll do is just show you what I already have. Let's go into Claude and say I would like to summarize the following document. And I'm going to paste that in. It's got some links in there, so that may give me some issues. Let's see how it works. Now you'll notice some pound signs. That is what's called markdown. We're going to deal with that later. Okay. And I'm going to ask it to elaborate just because I'm looking for some content. So I'll give you feedback for that first assignment in Blackboard, but for here I'm going to say can we punch this up a bit? All right. Now let me show you what I'm talking about. This was the 2024 experiment for silliest product generated by an AI. So it's a toothbrush that's connected to Spotify that will play music. So I did this to have an excuse to make a website, which is something we'll get into in the next assignment, which is Github Pages. But so I'm using that as the document. I've taken that and I've fed it to Claude, and Claude has given me a business proposal, and this is pretty fancy. So that looks good. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to say that looks good, and then the key for this next question, please turn this into a web page. Now there are multiple ways to generate a web page, but one is just to ask the AI to do it. So I've already done a document and it's writing it up like this. Now in Claude you have this particular setup called artifacts where you get the conversation on the left and the artifact that's produced on the right. So that looks pretty good. So I have my file, and I could maybe want to punch it up a bit, make some changes, but I can go down here and I can download that file. Brush and Tune Proposal web page. So I'm going to go and change the name of that file, and I'm just going to add on to the front of it the assignment name, right, which was M2T1, or just like that. Okay, now I've got something to work with. So the next step is the assignments we're going to do for the next 2 weeks. So this is going to be pretty short, but you'll need to create a GitHub account and you'll sign up. Now I'm signed in already, so I'll show you what my GitHub looks like. Now I'm going to walk you through the process. The assignment you have to do for 9:15 is very straightforward. You're going to make a new repository. So you're just going to click the button right here, and you will call your repository CSC 113. I'm going to have to call it 24 fall because I have one from last semester. And I will say here CSC 113, AI fundamentals. Okay. The one important thing to remember with a repository in GitHub, you need to always add a README file. And this is because when you make a repository, which is going to be just a place online that will hold your files, it cannot start empty. There's a workaround about this that would take too long to explain, when you can always just check the add a README button and you'll be set. So now that I've created my repository, well, I can go in and I can make some changes. So first of all, I want to tell you how you would submit this, because the first assignment is just to make the repository. Well, you take this URL, you copy it, and that's what you submit. So when I follow that link, it will take me to your account instead of mine, and then it will take me to your repo, which you should just call yours CSC 113. Okay. Now I want to upload the file I just made to my repository because I'm going to store all of my work in this repo. So I'm going to hit Upload Files. And I can just drag it. If I want to do multiple files at once, it may be easiest to drag it. In this case, I'm going to click Choose. but they'll both work the same. I add the file. It's going to add the name here. I should say what I did here. I'm just going to say added M2T1. And if I want to put more information here, I can. It's not necessary. Brush and tune business plan. Now, if that first page you've made is not incredibly attractive, maybe it's just sort of a generic look to it, that's fine. We're going to spend a good amount of time making changes later and showing you how to do a number of things. So, great. Now I've done that. I upload this file, and if I go to this file, I can see that it's here. Now, what I can't do is actually look at the page itself. I can read the text here, and I can edit it, make changes, but I don't have a way of displaying it. So now I'm going to show you how to do that. But remember, this is all you need for 9:15, so you can stop here if you're just trying to do the first assignment and come back later. Okay. So carrying on, let's actually look at what I'm asking. We've done summarize, explain, rephrase. We've set up our GitHub account. Let me show you how you can add some notes, because that would be kind of useful. So I can go into here. If I go back to my repository at the top level, this is sort of like just having a flash drive. I can go to the README, and I might want to add some notes. So what I often do while I'm teaching a class is I'll just go in here and add some notes. I might say notes from 9. This was originally yesterday, so I'll put that 24. Create a new repository. Upload website. Page files. Cool. And here, okay, create pages repository. Okay. Great. So I'm going to put notes for week of 9/10. And I've done this. Now, if you wonder, well, how did you do things like the headers and the bullet points? We'll get to that. But whenever an AI formats text in sort of this fashion, like when it gives you a bullet point list, it's doing the same thing that I just did. So we will get into how Markdown works. But now let's go back to your username in GitHub. And I want to click repository. I have many repositories now. I just hit 50. That's great. But I want to make a new one. And here's the trick. So this is a special repository. So you need to look at what your username is. Okay, and the way you know this is working is first type your username. And if it says this is a special repository, you're on the right track. But you're not done yet. You want to type .github.io. Okay. Now I've already made this account, so I can't make it again. But if your username is cooldude46, then your repository name will be cooldude46.github.io. And again, you must add a README. Always check that. Okay, because I've already made this repository, I'm going to load it up and show it to you. Okay, I have many, many files here, but what we care about is the index HTML. Now, you could just upload the file. I'm going to show you a different way you can open the file. So I'm going to take the text document here, and I'm going to use my chosen text editor. If you're on Windows, I recommend Notepad++, but I'm using Sublime here, pardon me. I'm just going to copy the whole thing, and this is another way you can do things if you prefer. I can click Add File, Create New File. Okay, so rather than upload it, I can just make the file here and paste it. So now I have the file index.html in my special repository with this document. I'm going to commit changes, and I'm going to put for CSC 113. I use this repo for several classes, so I have to keep track of what I'm doing here. Okay, I'm going to hit commit changes. Now, this is like a library where you check files in and check them out. So until you hit that commit changes button, the changes don't actually happen. So now, because I am in a special repo, I'm going to click the Actions tab. If your Action tab just says you have no actions, you can make one, then you have not named your repository correctly. So you want to make a new repository. But if you have the special name of username.github.io, you have a special tool where this repository will automatically upload to a special site. So github.com is the repositories where you store your work, but github.io is a display site. And so once this finishes, it takes about 15 to 30 seconds, depending on how busy it is. I'm going to click that link. And when I go here, there's my website. Okay? And the page I uploaded, because I called it index.html, is right here. Okay? This will get you through to the 22nd. So let's recap what we did. We did M2T1, and then we created a new repository. Then we made sure that we uploaded our code to that. So CSC 113 repository is just for storage to keep a backup of all your work. And then we made the special pages repository, which has a certain name to it and has built-in actions. And it deployed and automatically deployed our website. So in this case, we would turn in this link, the actual GitHub IO page, so that you can show that page. I think that's going to cover it. If you have any questions, again, remember, I'm available Monday afternoons and Thursday evenings, as well as my office hours. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you soon.